Hello students, welcome to Medical360. A lot of questions have been coming to us about what kind of cutoff would get you qualify and what kind of cutoffs will get you to get into a government medical college. So what we're doing or attempting to do at this point in time is based on the difficulty level of the paper, based on the kind of feedback that we have from on the ground of how the other students have performed. We're trying to create some kind of a clarity for you. And by the way, this is only an estimate by all of us. Most of us you see in the market are only estimating based on how the paper had gone and how their own students have done. And we also have a lot of feedback from thousands of students. So what I'm going to present to you is what kind of cutoff you need to get into government medical college. We'll also come back to the state medical college and all as we move along. But now we're dealing with all India quota, government medical college, what kind of score you need or what kind of rank deflation that you had or the score inflation that you had, because of which you are likely to get into some kind of a government medical college. Now, before I move further, we must also thank our partner SRM University, which is Katangattur in Chennai, which is a big medical college, and which we partnered with them to enable or ensure that all the student queries are answered. So I must thank our presenter for being a part of this entire exercise. Now coming back to the data. And before I move further, one request again I have, please do subscribe to Medical360. It's important for us to know that you're actually looking at our data and deciding for yourself. So please do that, right? Now, it's important for us to know the trend of the registrations that we had. The trend of registrations is similar to what you had in 25. In 25 and 26, if you look at it, 22.76 lakh was the registration in 25. It's 22.75 lakh. Right, the number of students who appeared is 22.09 lakh here, it is 22.05 lakh here. The number of candidates qualified is 12.36 lakh here, this will be 12.25 lakhs in our opinion, and we'll be dealing with 56% kind of a qualification rate. So that is the number you can expect, 12.35 lakh students qualifying for the examination. Right. Now, let's look at the big thing of what kind of rank will actually get you into any government medical college. For that, now we look back at 2025 data. In 2025, in the Nagaland Institute of Medical Sciences, which is the last government medical college that you had, where the highest ranker actually got in the open category, the highest rank was 26,178 in the open category. Then in the OBC, it went up to 26,231. So not much of a difference if you notice here. It's equally competitive as far as government medical college seat is concerned between general category and OBC category. Now come down to SC, it was 1,36,445. In ST, it was 1,62,975, and in EWS, it is 29,997. Right. So quite competitive in general OBC and maybe EWS also, and then you have SC and ST. Right. What is the score at which you could actually get in? General category is 527. Same thing. This also was 527 because not much difference here, and this went up to 522. Went down to 522. For SC ST, it went down to 425 and 441. Now remember, this was at a time when the topper got 686 on 720, whereas this year we are expecting a lot of students to get 720 on 720. So to that extent, there is a massive score inflation, and because of it, there will be a rank deflation also at a score level. Now let me explain again. By the way, these are the colleges that you got. In general category is Nagaland Institute, OBC also Nagaland Institute. In SC category, Tomoriba Institute of Health and Medical Sciences in Naharlagun. And then Nagaland and Government Medical College in Kalaikurichi for EWS candidates. So this is the colleges where for each of these categories, the highest closing rank got a seat in the government medical college. So now you know, for a moment, ignore the score because last year was the most difficult paper and this year possibly is the most easiest paper. Focus on the rank only. And now you need to understand what kind of a score do you need to get this kind of a rank. That's what we are all estimating at this point in time. When you again work backwards, now if you understand what we are looking at, let's compare the last 3 years data for a moment. And for a moment, ignore the score because the score depends on the difficulty level of the paper. But the rank is steady in a certain sense, right? Or rather, rank is supposed to be steady in a certain sense. But when you notice this, in 23, 22,663 is what got you a government medical college. In 24, 24,842 got you a medical college. In 25, 26,178 got you a government medical college. Now, if you look at this, it's about 16%, 1.16 kind of a thing, or 16% rank inflation happened, which means even if you got a 16% more rank, right, you still could get into a government medical college. Why does this happen? The real answer lies in the number of seats that increased also. We should always keep in mind that while everyone in the country is now talking of score, rank, easy, difficult and all, what they're not talking about is the number of seats that have increased over a period of time, and to that extent, there'll be a rank deflation also. Which means even at a higher rank, you're likely to get a government medical college because those many seats got added. And that is extremely important for you to understand. The same thing if you now go here, 22,784 became 24,982, became 26,231. Here also 1,23,000 became 133, became 136. For ST it became 159, 166, 162, a bit of difference here. And then EWS 24,659 became 28,702, became 29,997. So year on year, what you saw is even at a slightly higher rank of 5-10% more, you're likely to get into a government medical college. And by the way, the reason why I'm showing this trend is a similar trend is likely to happen in private colleges, deemed universities and state universities also. And that depends because in terms of the number of seats that you got increased. Now remember this 16% growth in seats. We'll talk of the score also as we move along. The score, of course, we're talking of this being the most difficult, where 527 also you got it. Last year it was 652. And before that it was 611. So also remember this. Now, based on this, if you were to now talk of 2020, right? If you were to talk of 2026, right? Let's talk of 2026 now and start mapping this. In my opinion, this year, your cutoff, for government medical college, you need 620 score, 620 to 625 to be anywhere close to getting into a government medical college as far as general category is concerned. For OBC, it will be close to again 620, 615 to 620, 616 to 620. And this, by the way, we did a lot of calculation by factoring the number of seats that also increased. There are about 9% increase in seats this year. I'll show you that data also as we move along. So while people are talking of difficulty levels and everything, we're also factoring in not just the difficulty level of the paper, but the number of seats that also got increased over the year for us to set a score benchmark for you, which is where we're coming to this number. For SC, we're dealing with about 480 to 490, and so on and so forth. But essentially what we're talking of is, here we're dealing with about 620 because of the score inflation also. I know Alan talked of 616 and all, and we are now talking of 620 despite a seat increase also. I don't know whether they've factored that in, but we are factoring that in. Because when you look at the number of seats that are there over the years, last year we had 1,18,190 seats overall. We'll also come back to you at some point on public and private. We're still not getting the data completely. This year we're going to have 1,29,000 seats, which means we're dealing with 9.66% increase in seats in the medical colleges in the country. Right? Of which quite a few are in public colleges, and that we needed to factor in. Right? And if you compare with 23, we actually had about 18.5% growth in number of seats. So when you look at all those things, what is our projection at this point in time? Your cutoff for general category is 620. 620. Your cutoff for OBC is 618. Your cutoff for SC is close to about 485 or 485 to 488. Your cutoff for ST is 455 and your cutoff for EWS is 610. This is for 2026. That is a measure. 620 for general category, 612 for OBC category, SC is 485, ST is 455, and EWS is 610. That is a projection. Mark my words. Go back. We'll discuss this as the score comes in. But the important thing for us at this point in time is to make sure that you understand the whole thing, right? So again, when we look back at the whole thing, let me complete this whole thing. We're dealing with 6 level, 23, 24, and 25. 26 when we deal with it, we're dealing with 620 here. We're dealing with 618 here. We're dealing with 488 here. We're dealing with 455 here, and we're dealing with 610 here. This, by the way, again I'm repeating, we're factoring in the number of seats increase also while we're talking of this aggressive thing, because we do think that there are a lot of toppers out here, and that's a possibility. By the way, remember, all that we're doing at this point in time is an estimation. All that we're doing at this point in time is guesstimate of what exactly happened and how the students performed in the examination. And we did have spoke to a lot of coaching institutions of how their students performed, and everyone is exuberant, everyone is exhilarated, and that is where we do think that the scores will go up dramatically, and to that extent the score that you need to get a particular rank would also be much more difficult for you. Having said that, let us keep our fingers crossed. Let us keep, make sure that, hope that all of you get into the best medical colleges. The important thing for us is to make sure that you understand the different, the score, the rank, and what are the possibilities, and we'll keep advising you, counseling. If you have any questions, write to us in the message box here. As I told you, we are partnered with SRM University to make sure that all your questions get answered, and we'll try to take it up as early as possible. Thank you so much. Namaste.